Coding with Pizza Technologies. Yesterday, we tackled HTML from introduction to the basics of HTML. Today, we are starting HTML elements, and now HTML elements. What are HTML elements? A HTML element is defined by a start tag, some content, and an end tag. Let's write that down. Now, the HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag, clearly. Now, there are nested HTML elements. Nested meaning that elements can contain other elements. Means elements can contain other elements. All HTML documents consist of nested elements. Now, here are some HTML elements, usually 4 HTML elements. There is sure you get me. Here are some HTML elements. An example is like what we did here yesterday. This is an element. This is also an element. This is an element. This too is an element. Okay. The HTML element, we explained that is the root of the whole document. It has a start tag. This is the start tag. And this here, this is the finish. Okay. Now, we have that. The body element defines the document's body. It has a start tag, this being the start tag, this being the finish tag. Inside the body, there is the header 1 and the paragraph. Okay. Now, you should never ever skip the end tags of any HTML file. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Now, there are usually HTML elements that are empty HTML elements. They have no content, therefore that's why they are called empty HTML elements. One is here. I will just do one for you. As you can see, this defines a line break. This here, the BR element defines a line break. That is why here, there is a line break. Okay. HTML is not case sensitive. Therefore, a capital P for paragraph is the same as a small p for paragraph. Okay. Now, back to our notes. We're going to also do HTML attributes. These provide additional information about the HTML elements. Okay. Now, all HTML elements can have attributes. Like we said, attributes provide additional information about elements. Attributes are always specified in the start tag. And attributes usually okay. Now we are going to do an attribute. Remember the link is this, the href. The href attribute. The A tag defines a hyperlink. Okay, and the href defines the URL of the page the link goes to. Okay, here is an awesome example for that. This here, this A here defines the hyperlink. This, whatever as we hover, whenever we hover, you see the arrow changing. This is a hyperlink. And this here, this one defines the URL of the page the link goes to. Okay, now, like we still did yesterday, we did an image source where I did img src as equals, we did a browse. Let's do a browse in the yeah. Okay, so as you can see, there is actually a photo that has come. Now, the image is a tag used to embed an image to a HTML page. The src attribute specifies the path to the image to be displayed. Let me write that down for you. The img tag is I hope that makes sense. I hope you can see well. Now, there are two ways to specify the URL in the src attribute. One is the absolute, which links to an external image. Which is usually hosted on another website. Okay. Now, external images can be under copyright. Therefore, if you do not get permission to use it, you may be in violation of copyright laws. In addition, you cannot control external images. It can be suddenly removed or changed. Therefore, you may miss a link where you need to put a path for your URL. Now, the second one is a relative. Now, this one links to an image. This one links to an image hosted within the website. Therefore, it is hosted within the device. I think you understand me. It is hosted within the device under use. Therefore, it is most likely images inside the laptop or in a folder within the laptop. I hope you understand me. There are the width and height attributes. The width and height attributes are attributes contained in the image tag. Let me explain to you. They specify the pixels which the image should be using. Okay, like let's go here to Dreamweaver. Now this is our image. This image should have a width and a height. Now width can be equal to 360. See, it has changed something. And height can be, say, 100. You see, it changes something. But then, given that it is not exactly, still can change that way, and can place it at 360, which makes it a square. It is not the best move also. You put 200, it makes sense. Okay, so these are the width and height attributes specifying the pixels in the image that are used. There is also, wait, let's write a note for the width and height attribute. We could say Okay. There is also the alt attribute. The alt attribute is required the required alt attribute for the img tag specifies a text for an image. The text for some reason cannot be displayed basically. This can be due to slow connection or an error in the src attribute if the user uses a screen reader. It is not exactly a must that you must have the alt attribute, but sometimes why not? Okay. There's also a style attribute. The style attribute is used to add the style attribute is used to add styles to an element such as color, font, size, and more. Let's try with the paragraph here. We're going to do style equal to color blue or aqua. Try aqua. Let's do red. Red is more visible. Okay. Now, if you check nicely, the style is equals to color red. This is my first paragraph. Is exactly what has changed here. Okay. There is the lang or the language attribute. Wow. Now, you should always include the lang or the language attribute inside the HTML tag. You should always include the lang attribute inside the HTML tag to declare the language of the web page. This is meant to assist search engines and browsers, usually used in search engine optimization. This is what we mean. There is doctype HTML, then there's HTML, okay. This attribute here, this attribute assists the search engines and browsers. Okay. Country codes can also be used or added. The first two characters define the language of the HTML page. Like this is just English in general. Then there can be English UK or US. Okay. Now, finally, we have the last attribute, the title. The title attribute. Okay. Now, the title attribute defines some extra information about an element. The value of the title now. Let's try that out. Okay, where is this mouse? There it is. Aha, this was the style. Now we can change that to title. Title equal, could say tool tip. Okay. You see, when you hover your mouse, you find something different. Therefore, we can write, say, a hen. When you hover this, you will see Amahen as the title. But in real sense, that's not what you will read. You will read, this is the first paragraph. Now, just as a suggestion, always use lowercase attributes. Okay, what does this mean? Now, the HTML standard doesn't require a lowercase attribute name. The title attribute and all other attributes can be written with uppercase or lowercase, like titles, or like title or title. Let me give you notes for that. You can see here, either small or caps. Okay. However, okay. Also, the HTML standard doesn't require quotes around attribute values. Okay. Okay. But we recommend it is therefore go back here and I show you this is good, but then This is bad. As you can see, it already even has a red. It must be in double quotes. Therefore, it should be here like this, not like this. If you give it this, it will not give you what you require in the end. Therefore, we don't use it at all. Like, this is disturbing, the disturbing usage of knowledge. Okay. Sometimes you have to use quotes. This example will not display the title attribute correctly because it contains a space. Okay. Double quotes, these ones here, these ones, are used around attribute values and are most commonly used in HTML. But single quotes can also be used. In some situations, when the attribute value contains double quotes, it is necessary to use single quotes. Now, chapter summary. Chapter summary now. All elements, HTML elements, can have attributes. Okay. The href attribute of the tag A specifies the URL of the page the link goes to. The src, or the source attribute of the image tag, specifies the path to the image to be displayed. The width and height attributes of the image tag provide size information for the images. The alt attribute of the image tag provides an alternate text for an image. The style attribute is used to add styles to an element, such as color, font, size, and more. The lang attribute, or the language attribute of the HTML tag, declares the language of the web page. Also assists in the search engine optimization. The title attribute defines some extra information about an element. The HTML attribute reference that one I will give you a link so that you can see all the attributed elements, or you can just save or type in or just do some notes. I have been your host, Keith Baraka, and up till the next lesson, where we will be studying headings and paragraphs in HTML. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.